You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
So everyone knows about what has been going on with the transgenders in female sports in 2025 under President Donald Trump. He has said, you will not allow the executive order, also Title IX, by the way, we're not going to allow males into female sports. And some schools, some states have been defiant. One of them is actually Washington State. Mm-hmm. Maine, among others, they just lost more funding. California, Oregon as well. Yep. Well, it seems like this one school in Washington actually didn't want to let a transgender play on the female sports team. But guess what happened? They started getting threats from Democratic Party leaders.
Well, that's not shocking. That doesn't shock me, actually. Wow.
Yeah, right here. Washington State High School forced to allow men to play women's sports after legal threats from Democratic leaders. The governing body for high school sports in Washington State has announced that it will not ban men from women's sports following legal threats from Democratic officials. Man, Washington state law currently requires educational agencies to allow students to participate in interscholastic sports that most closely aligns with their gender identity. What does this even mean? That most closely? What does that even mean? Somebody has to explain that to me. Anyway,
that sounds like you're just calling your shot. Like whatever you think you are, that's what you're supposedly. In the moment, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know, by the way, that there are members of that community in that entire LGBTQ community that literally takes on different identities based on the season of the year they're in? Think about that a minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a thing now.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, man.
I mean, literally. Well, it's winter. I'm a drunk lesbian today, so I mean, literally. I mean, that's where we're at. So, and you want to allow them to compete in sports? Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Goes on. It says the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association previously announced it had proposed 2 bylaw amendments that would limit participants in girls' sports to students who were born as females and prevent students who were born male and now identify as female from competing in girls' sports following multiple headline grabbing victories by boys in Washington State competing in girls' events. One of the amendments would have created a girls' division and an open division. Now, we know that the open division, transgenders didn't want that. Remember, they tried that before. Maybe not in Washington, but still. Right. Open division, all students could participate regardless of whether their gender identity matched the sex they were born as, while the other amendment proposed the creation of a boys division, girls division, and an open division. On Tuesday, WIAA Communications Director Sean Bassett said in a statement to the Seattle Times that he had been told by the state's Attorney General Nick Brown and Superintendent of Public Instruction Chris Rachtel, both Democrats, as well as the state's Office of Civil Rights, that the proposals would violate state law. Bassett told the outlet the WIAA has been told by the Attorney General's office, the Offices of for Civil Rights, and the Office of Superintendent Public Instruction that proposed amendments, blah, 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 would be a violation of the current Washington law, affirming our Attorney General's legal review. The WIAA remains committed to following the state law, and those amendments focused on gender identity participation would not be implemented on August 1st if they were to pass under the current state law, he added. If state law were to change, the WIAA's executive board has the authority and would need to alter the association's rules accordingly. Yeah, because right here in May, a biological male won the state girls 400-meter race by over a full second, leading the East Valley girls track team from Spokane to a state championship. The following month, the losing team's coach spoke out against state rules that allow biological males to compete in female-designated sports, telling the Independent Women's Forum that his team would have won the state championship if it were not for the inclusion of male athletes. Wow. Wow. Are you surprised?
That's
No.
messed up, dude.
Well, no, but I will say this. This is, we were talking earlier during a different subject about virtue signaling. To a point, this is virtue signaling for these Democratic politicians because, frankly, this is a nonpartisan issue. Like many Democratic voters do not agree with allowing biological men into
it's like
women's sports.
70% of Democrats.
It's a large number of Democrats. It's only your very progressive radical left that is okay with this crap.
Yeah.
So they're not.
But
they're not
the
even
Democratic
following
Party
through.
overall, the Democratic Party overall wants males and female sports. Did you see that video I did yesterday about Georgia? All of the Democrat reps, there's 80 of them in the Georgia House of Representatives. The Republicans were pushing a bill to actually say, all right, we're not going to use state funds to actually have sex changes for inmates.
Right.
It passed 100 to 2. 78 out of the 80 Democrats walked out before the vote. And the other two that remained voted against the bill.
Keeping in mind, that wasn't the voters and a reflection of the voters. That was the politicians.
Yes, the Democratic
Only.
politicians.
Yeah.
No wonder, man, they have fallen out of touch with the American people. Their approval rating is horrific.
The lowest they've ever had. Yeah. That's exactly right. And this is one of the issues that led to the sweep during the elections. And they're going to keep it up. I mean, by all means, keep it up because they're going to find out again whenever it comes back around for midterms, et cetera, et cetera. This is crazy. And a lot of Democrats know it's crazy. That's why you have people like Bill Maher that has spoke out against this forever because he's a more classic liberal. He's like, it's freaking nuts to let men go in and compete against women in sports. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, Martina Navratilova is completely against these transgenders in female sports. But here's the problem with her, though, man.
She was furious.
She is super left, and she keeps voting for these Democrats no matter what.
Agreed. That's a problem, too.
If you're going to do that, then if I'm a Democratic politician, I'm like, why in the world I got to listen to you? Because you're going to vote for me no matter what. No matter what.
Yep. And she did, by the way, because she came out real hard in support of the girl that kneeled in protest. But she did get called out on her voting record.
Yeah, exactly.
On who she...
Martina Navratilova is 99% leftist.
That's right.
1% far right when it comes to the male invasion.
Well,
of,
and
female
that's
sports.
really just her feminist side kicking in.
Yeah. And she is, and make no mistake about it, she is completely Trump deranged. Completely.
Yeah.
You ever see what she posts on it? Boy, she is completely Trump deranged. That's all she does all day long.
And unless it's something to do with this transgender thing, I don't pay much attention to her. But I did see she replied to some people yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, she's radically left wing." Gotcha.
Super left, but she has worked with Riley Gaines. She was actually at a convention to keep males out of female sports. She was there with Riley Gaines. That was last year sometime. But that's the only common ground. But other than that, she's going to vote for the left.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure they're going to call her a transphobe. But she doesn't care.
Oh, they already do. They already do. Yeah. The LGBTQ community crushes her regularly online because of her views on allowing men into women's sports.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.